What's up, peeps? How y'all doing today? So excited to be back for another show. Welcome to Play My Music. I'm your host, Mark Reddick, and today we have a special distinguished guest with us. This brother I've known for years. I just spoke to him a few minutes before we came on the air. I watched this young man from afar, and I've admired him so much. Talented Sam Talbert. Very quiet, humble, but his hands, oh my Lord, brother, that he's got techniques. He's educated. He has devoted his whole life to music, and you can check out his website. See, has so many piano techniques that he teaches, and chord changes, and I mean just the whole nine. Okay, very talented, and he's got so much to offer. So, Sam, say hello to the audience.
Audience, how are you doing? How are you doing?
So glad to have you, bro. Let's just start with let's do this here. Let's start with, I guess. Well, look, you go back a long way. Let's just start from when, like, I used to see you a lot, like in the late '60s, early '70s. You know, what was music for you back then?
Back in those days, I was a uh, learning church musician. And I say learning because I was already um, educated, self-educated in learning how to play piano and organ
Hmm.
from, I guess, the age of 13 to 14 to 15. And I was uninfluenced by other musicians. I was the musician that would listen to everyone else and wonder how were they getting those sounds out of the organ or out of the piano,
Yeah.
rush home and start picking at the piano, not knowing how to form my fingers or even where to find the first, second, or third note, let alone a chord. So I spent a lot of my teenage years where everybody else was out playing basketball and running with their friends and going to parties. I was on the organ, but my father was a Hammond organ technician, so we always had a B3 handy
Mm,
that he was
okay.
working on. And I would work on trying to recreate that sound I heard in my ears just by hunt and peck. And then by the time I became church worthy to play for a church, I was already had the ability to hear whatever somebody else was playing and and duplicate it or actually replicate it within 20 minutes time.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Seems like a lot of us have the same stories. We came up in church, and then, like you said, you literally ran home to go to try to play what you heard. So, who are your influences coming up?
Oh,
Keyboard
where
influences.
should I start the list? James Cleveland, his music.
Hmm.
As time progressed, of course, the Hawkins and every song that they put on their Love Alive albums,
Yeah.
those were my musicians. Those were my teachers, not physical, but through through albums.
Hmm.
Then, as I began to get more influence in the church, there was, of course, the late Reverend Timothy Wright.
Hmm.
But he would come to the church when they would have the different meetings, and I would sit and watch him play. Um, a musician who we spoke about, Brother Willard Meeks, when he would come with his choir on Thursday nights at any of the holy convocations, I would sit in amaze as how this young man could sit so erect and just put his hands out there, and
Hmm.
all you saw was fingers going across the keyboard. And I would sit there and go, just shake my head, but still absorbing
Yes.
what I was
Yes.
hearing.
Yes.
Then, of course, there were local musicians who, again, when they would come through the church, through different church meetings, like, they don't do that as much now. But back
Hmm.
then, the church meetings, each pastor who was preaching would bring his choir. So it was
Hmm.
always a different musician every night.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, um, now forwarding the tape to now. So I listened to the song that you submitted, and I want to
Hmm.
play it for the audience today. It took me in the mind of the '80s, between the '80s and '90s. I thought about the New York Community Choir. I thought about just so many artists and groups that were out. You know that sound. You know I heard everything you did. You know the instrumentation and the horns and you had everything. Everything's aligning in this song. Um, um, and I think from what I read in your bio, that the song you wrote is came from a meeting you were at, just like the very meetings you're talking about. Am I correct? And somebody
Yes.
was.
Mhm.
Good. You can elaborate on that.
Well, I'm gonna give his name. The pastor Jay Gooding from the Bronx. We were visiting his church with my church. Pastors
Hmm.
generally do that, and up on his wall he had a big sign: push, pray until
Until
something
something happens.
happens. So I read that sign and I said, "Gee, that would make a nice song." So of course, what budding songwriters do, and again, that wasn't my first song I've written. In fact, I got my brochure full of stuff here. But I always like to be able to take a theme and put
Hmm.
music behind it. I even put a theme behind an actual men's conference. I
Hmm.
said, well, yeah, let me write a song for that. Always had that songwriter composing spirit about me.
Hmm.
So when I looked at that, and I said, pray until something happens. Then I allow, as they say, as people say, something comes to us. No, I always ask God, give me something that would be able to push that one part of the theme. So I
Hmm.
came to the mindset as well, God still answers prayer. And of course, we always want to rhyme because that's what it was back in that day. He will be right there. Okay, I got my rhyme. Hold on and don't despair. Why? God still answers prayer. But now the push didn't come in there yet. That came in on the vamp.
Right.
Men want to do what? Always
Always
pray
pray.
and not think. And I always go to the scriptures when I'm writing songs.
Hmm.
Pray, pray, pray until something happens. God still answers prayer. And because I always wrote for choirs, and my choir director at that time would always give me music, but she was always struggling to find songs for the offering. That was an offertory song in my church.
Hmm. I can
As you
hear
know,
that. I can hear that.
you
Yes.
know the tempo lets you march back and forth.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
In Kelly's Temple back in that day, the choir would march out of the choir stand, which was elevated, to the back of the church, line up, and then come down the middle. Kind of an actual tradition. So the
Hmm.
song had to be perky. It had to be able to have constant movement. And because
Right.
I came from a background of high school jazz band, that's why you hear all those horns and all that movement in the music. That's my background as a instrumentalist playing a French
Wonderful.
horn or mellophone in a jazz band. I
Wonderful.
have to have movement.
Jazz band. See, I never knew you were in a jazz band. Okay.
Hmm.
So I guess you did what the standards, like Autumn Leaves or what? No,
We did that. We
Mitzi and
also
all of
did
that.
Chicago. The what was one of the greatest blessings I ever had was
Hmm.
the music director was an actual musician. He had his own jazz band, which he wrote music for. So he would create music for the high school band. So I
Hmm.
got to be taught by an actual musician.
Okay. Okay. Wow, I found out a lot today. Well, let's listen to this music that you have. I want to get right to this song. Let's go with it. That's hot, man. I like that. I love that part.
That's the whole push Gray himself.
Exactly. That's the whole push behind that song. That hook right there. I love it, man. I love it.
And that's only one of perhaps 30 to 35 songs I've written.
I read that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to hearing uh, all these all these selections. That's everything that's going on in those hands and that brain of yours. Just pure genius, genius. I'm enjoying it, and I have such an appreciation for what you're doing. Um, like I said, I've admired you for many years, and I thank God for Facebook because as time goes on, sometimes you know you just don't see people. It's like almost out of sight, out of mind. But then on Facebook, you see a friend pop up, and you could be friends with. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Sam. So I'm thankful that I found you on Facebook, and I'm watching um, everything that you're doing with your classes and your tutorials, and you're doing a masterful work. So tell everyone where they can find your music.
Well, I am on Spotify. I'm on Apple, iTunes. I guess all of your digital outlets, because I make sure that I partnered with DistroKid, which they will push my music out to every digital platform out there. I don't have a website. They got kind of expensive to run them.
Yes.
But I do take care of. I am on YouTube. You can find any of my tunes on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Sound of Joy, kind of pushing my logo here, where
Yes.
I get to share everything I've learned as a young musician with perhaps the next generation of, I'll use this term, Sam Talbot. You see, I have this thing
Okay.
here.
Yes.
I actually went to Great Adventures back in the 90s, and this was a picture I took, and they just put a template over it.
I
This
was
is
wondering
how-
who that. I was looking at that. I was like, that kind of looks like Sam, but that doesn't. I guess that's maybe in his younger years.
That
But I
was
like that.
my promise to myself back then. I wanted
Mhm.
to be on a magazine as a young musician who would get an opportunity to display his skills. Now, for those musicians of this age, you have much more opportunity
Yes.
than I had back then, because I was 19, I believe, when I got that picture taken. 2 years later, after that, I got married. So you know what happens when all your dreams now get put in the back burner, and you
Yes.
take care of your family, and you
Yes, Doc. I know all
participate
about it.
in life. So a lot of that got, again, put on the back shelf. I watched equipment. I blowing dust off equipment, because by the time you did home, job, and church, you had to still sleep.
That's
and
right.
eat.
Yes, sir.
But that never deterred me when I got of age and got to where I am now, in a facility in my basement, where I can now go back in time and say, what did I promise that young man you were going to do?
Mhm.
So this is what I've been doing, is slowly building up a home studio. Of course, the singer on God Still Answers Prayers, a young woman from Barbados who has a service of singing background, because unfortunately, a lot of my connections with choir members in this generation now, it's hard to find
Yeah.
someone that you can depend on 100% of the time, who can sing what you hear in your head.
Right.
So basically, if you want to get good singers, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yes.
That young lady cost me, because when I heard her first rendition of it, I said, can we speed it up? She said, if I speed it up, you get another charge. I said, you just taught me how to be perfect before I send you any kind of work.
Really? That's okay.
Again, because that's one vocalist singing all three parts, and she sent me 4 tracks of each vocal. And they
Okay.
were all different, which means I had to go in there and do some manipulating. This is I'm sure you've done that, where you go in
Oh,
and
yes.
start tweaking this, pull this forward,
Absolutely.
snap, copy from this one and put back on this one, because this one didn't quite get the word I
Right.
didn't hear the R sound,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yes,
was
sir.
fun doing that. That was
Yes, it
fun
is.
doing that.
Yes.
But that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a resource for the younger musician that says, I can sing, but I can't play. I can play, but I don't know how to write. I say, well, come to me. And what I would do is create the sheet music, your lead sheet music for you. I do that
Mm-hmm.
too. And then I would help you go and get it copyrighted. Again,
Okay.
I'm trying to see that picture. Can't even see it there.
It's a
There we
little,
go.
yeah, a
Yeah,
little white. Yeah, there we
there
go.
we go. So I've got all of my, I make sure that I know how to do the process before I would offer it as a service to someone else. And
Excellent.
to the
Excellent.
to the singer that just wants to put their music on sheet music, I also do that. I also do transcribing. All these ears that these ears have been allowed to hear, I
Mm-hmm.
still parlay that into services to help encourage the next generation of singers and songwriters. Now, I'm taking a little bit of your time, but I always get on this platform. We should not be waiting for some artist to come up with the new song. The new song should start with the people who are actually out there
There you go.
involved in music right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
the mantra that I took. If you need a song, I've rewritten Christmas. I still have it here. Excuse my body. I rewrote a Christmas song, two Christmas songs,
Okay.
and it got picked up by Times Square Church.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the album production of the album that they actually put it on.
Okay.
And that was a blessing because I got to hear them sing it for WNBC Good Morning Show down at the
Beautiful.
New York Times Square Church. And that just make me feel that I wasn't wasting my time trying to help musicians find that undiscovered composer, songwriter, or musician out there that is molded in life and life challenges and issues where we'll never get a chance to hear what they really sound like.
Mm-hmm.
I've been holding back. You haven't heard all the music that's in me.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here. I didn't know you were doing it. Like you just mentioned Times Square Church. If anyone who's here, we're here from New York. That's one of the largest congregation churches here in New York, and I've heard about. I haven't been there, but I've heard a lot about them. I have friends who have worked there and function there, and um, just excellent, excellent. So for you to have done their Christmas album
Well, not the
and
album. I have one song on the album.
one song, well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And you said it was on NBC. So look, that's moving in the right direction. Now, I'm so happy to hear that. I wish I had known when it happened. I would have loved to have witnessed that. But just please keep us. Well, I'm sure you'll be back on the show again, and keep us up to date with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things that you offer, what's the easiest way for people to get in contact with you? They want for you to transpose their music, um, whatever. What's the easiest way?
They could contact me at soundofjoy123@gmail.com.
Okay.
Reach me through there.
Sound of Joy Music.
No, just soundofjoy123
Sound of Joy 123
at
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Got it.
And we can talk about what it is your vision is. I never charge for the conversation. It's only when I got to start to do the work.
There you go. And that's only fair. It's only reasonable. Brother Sam, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been a joy, and I hope that everyone that's watching will get just as much out of this podcast today as I have. We want you to come back, and we want to hear some more of these wonderful songs that you've written and arranged and composed and orchestrated. I mean, you do the whole nine. So I'm humbled to have you on here and to be in your presence here. So again, Sam Talbert, glad to have him on the show today. And if you would like your music on Play My Music, write us, shoot us an email at playmymusic711 playmymusic711@gmail.com. That's playmymusic711@gmail.com. Okay? Again, thanks so much, Sam. And we'll be in touch with you, man. God bless you,
All
brother.
right.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
All right. You too.